Okay. What's up, you guys? I am so excited. Yes, I will post a link to the video after it is uploaded and everything. Don't worry, we'll get that taken care of. But I'm super excited to be on here tonight with these amazing couples. I asked people if they would hop on because this is an awesome variety of people. You're going to hear husbands who are involved day in and day out with the business side of things. You're going to hear back office. You're going to hear a total variety. And so what we are hoping that you do is that you realize that there is no manual for this business when it comes to learning how to work it as a couple. Don't set expectations on your significant other. Just realize that it's going to be a journey. And so I hope that these couples will inspire you and will teach you something, maybe give you some different ideas, and let each of you know that it's okay. It's going to be a process. It's still a process for me and Brian as well. But we're going to start with Trista and Eli. And if you would just give a really quick version of your guys' story and just take it over how your guys' journey has been as a couple more specifically.
Okay. You want me to go?
Yeah, fire away.
So hey everybody, we are Trista and Eli. If you don't know who we are Presidential Diamonds with the company. We have been in for just over 2.5 years now, which is insane. But before we started, this guy was like the biggest MLM hater on the planet. He literally he despised companies like this. Oh, let me hang on. And so it took me about 8 months to convince him to let me just do my thing, give it a try.
Not let her. I can't keep her from doing anything. I can only express my concern. So she was just willing to listen to my concern, and that was all. I didn't stop her from doing anything.
Well, I never would have joined without his okay. So it took about 8 months. Finally, he was like, you know what? Whatever, you spend $100 at Target all the time and don't even know what you come home with, so go for it. And it's not that he expected me to fail, he just really didn't believe in these kind of companies yet. So in the beginning, his role was just really cheerleader for me. Oh, good grief, sorry.
Turns out that's what I'm good at, is cheerleading. So that was my job at the beginning. Try to open up her mind and help her dream and help her see further than just her first promotion. And that was just kind of my job at the beginning.
And that's really, I think, kind of all he really ever thought he would be. But
and tell him why that was all. Because I had so many other things going on that I didn't see myself in an active role in this business at first.
Yeah, he definitely didn't. He was a full-time firefighter. He owned a sports performance business. We were busy. Life was crazy. And he really, he had worked really hard to build a business from the ground up, a brick and mortar, because that's what he thought business was. And it's
not wrong to do it that way. Just my short-sightedness saw that as the only way to reach wealth and to have success in business. After we joined this company, I saw her kind of take off. My eyes were opened, and then I realized, and I now realize, that network marketing is a very, very viable option in becoming wealthy, having freedom, and success.
And so really, our kind of transition is working the business as a couple. Like I said, he started as the behind the scenes cheerleader. He's never really been one to do back office stuff. That's just not something that interests him, and that's totally fine. But he is a great motivator, and he is an amazing support person. So he's always kind of been my rock. But as our journey kind of with the company, as his belief has grown, so has his wanting to kind of come. He works it completely as a full-time distributor now as well, which also we both have retired from our full-time jobs. And so we have a lot more time to work it as a couple, but it's really as his belief grew in the company and in the products that he really stepped forward, and he works it completely like me now.
And to be honest, it didn't have a lot to do with, and I know we're kind of getting off track of the actual story, but the change in my role and my belief in the company didn't have a lot to do with the paycheck, although that was nice. In all honesty, my belief in this company changed when I first met the owner of the company. That's when I said, I can work with this guy.
Was that on the cruise?
Yes, that was on the cruise. And I said, man, I can work with this guy, because this guy was a competitor. We were just playing cornhole, and we were just, clowning it up as guys. And that's when I said, man, I am all in with this company because these are regular people doing extraordinary things, and I want to be a part of it.
So his role kind of has transitioned where in the beginning, like I said, he was my support person. And it was his kind of becoming a full-time distributor was gradual. It wasn't something that he just woke up one day and was like, okay, I'm going to work it full-time with you. He started to help out with my social media, and he would kind of work my Instagram for me for a while. He would interact with people. He would add to my network. So he kind of did some tips.
It was like a practice run. He was working your business.
He was getting like 1 foot in the water, just kind of testing it out.
And I was just kind of doing what I could at the time because in all honesty, I was a firefighter, which is 24-hour shifts. I owned a sports performance business, like Trista said, which took the majority, if not all, of my evening time. So I was the epitome of a guy who didn't have the time, yet I made the time. So one excuse that I have a hard time listening to is when people say, I just don't have the time. Because if there was anybody on the face of the earth at that time that didn't have the time, it was me, and I still made the time because I wanted to support my wife, and kind of secretively, I wanted to be successful in this business too, because anything that I'm in, I want to be successful at.
But at the same time, like, I think it's really important to point out, like, we found what worked for us. The back office is not something that he has any interest in, and so I didn't try and make him do that.
And I do it. I do it because I think that's something that's necessary, but she does the majority of that. So yeah, my strength wasn't going to be that, so she didn't make me do that. Let me kind of find my comfort zone and what I was going to be strong at, and kind of fed that.
Absolutely. And then now as it's developed, he honestly, like, he is one of the best distributors. He was actually my top enrolling distributor on my team last month. So
that is so awesome.
Time.
That was my goal. I told her that my goal is to be your top enrolling distributor every single month. And I honestly believe that I can be because I believe in the company.
Yeah. So my question is like, just to make you guys real, right? Because now it's like all rainbows and butterflies. I mean, obviously not totally, but I'm saying majority of people are looking at you and saying, hey, like, wow, they have it all figured out. But can you walk through some of the struggles, like some of the, maybe just walk them through, because what I want this to be is I want this to be, okay, wow, that was advice. So maybe let's be able to pick up on things that aren't working sooner than later, and how you guys work through that. Because I think sometimes we try to put these labels on who we want our spouse to be because we see other successful relationships in the business. So like Joel and Stephanie, right? They're the perfect one. So to kind of call out, because Joel is very, very visual. You can see him. He's very, like, he's just a bold and upfront leader. And so, like, you're like, oh, well, I'm going to imitate what's working for the number one income earners if I want to be successful. And so I'm going to put my dude in this box, or my significant other in this box, so that they fit it and that's how we work it. How did you guys kind of figure those things out along the way?
One thing I'll say before we get into all of that is, first and foremost, as a guy and as a female, always be who you are. I feel like we get carried away too often in mirroring other people in the business. Now, with that being said, I think you should ultimately be the best version of you, and that's what should always be out in front, the ultimate version of yourself. So we're constantly improving ourselves. So what I wanted to get into, and what I'm leading into with that, is this. Cami says it all the time, and I say this all the time. Network marketing is self-development with a compensation plan, right? So that is individual distributorship. But tonight, this is about couples. And I honestly believe if you want to become better as a couple in this business, work on your marriage first, and you'll have that happen. I really do believe that when it comes to couples working together, work on your marriage first, and success in your business as a couple will follow. I really believe that. You can't fake it. If you're acting like you're in love with one another, you can't fake that. It's very important for your love and your partnership to be real. So if you want to be successful as a couple in this business, work on your marriage, and in turn, the byproduct will be success in the business.
I think because we did have a transition from kind of where we were both working full time, and then I came home, and then a year later he came home. It was a big transition to go from like not being around each other to being around each other all the time. And so really, I feel like communication is the number one thing. Like I was expecting him to do stuff that he did not know that I was expecting him to do, and I was getting mad at him for not doing it. So we had to figure that out, and we had to talk about it. A lot of times I feel like, especially us women, can just have these like, well, why isn't he doing the dishes for me? Or why isn't he doing this? Well, I'm trying to work. Talk about your goals together and talk about how you can help each other out to get closer to those goals. Because a lot of times I feel like we just expect the other person to know and they have no clue. That was honestly the biggest thing for us. Just not expecting him to be doing what I think he should be doing.
And communication is definitely the most important thing. And this is geared at guys. I'm reading a book right now called Man of Standing, and it's becoming Superman or being Superman in a Clark Kent world. And I think the most important thing, and I've really been working on this, and I hope Trista can see it, is I want to pursue her, and I want to treat her like my wife and like a princess and like the queen that she is, no matter what she's doing. It doesn't matter if she's mad at me. It doesn't matter if she's happy with me. It doesn't matter if she's doing the dishes or sitting on the couch. It doesn't matter what she's doing. I just need to treat her like I love her. And that is absolutely biblical, and it's something that we have to do as men. So if you want to improve your marriage, guys, step up to the plate and treat them like the queens that they are. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm not always great at that, but you better believe I'm working my best to try to be.
I love that. I think that that's awesome. Like, I totally believe, I wrote this in a post the other day, but like, success does start at home. Like, no matter what your guy's role is in the business, or even if he doesn't even have one, you know, you can't be successful if the stuff in your life is not together. And so that's the beautiful thing about network marketing is, you know, you read all these corny posts all the time that are so true, you know, that our lives have improved so much because of just the self-development that our company emphasizes. Like, I was even talking to another girl who was in a different network marketing company, and she was like, wait, like self-development, maybe like reading books and stuff. And it like wasn't even talked about. And I was like, how do you survive? I don't know. So it's just so awesome that we have a company that does emphasize that and wants us to improve like as people all around, and not just for their success, but for our success as well. So I really appreciate you guys hopping on. I love hearing your guys' story. Love seeing your success. Can't wait to see you guys as ambassadors. Thank you guys
so much. Really appreciate it.
You are so welcome. Hold on. I got to make sure I'm doing the right order. Okay. Who's up next? Okay. I'm really bad at names, you guys. So I'm probably going to mess this one up. Gianni? Did I say it right?
You're fine. I'm getting used to this. I told Pedro I need to change my name because once I'm going to be on that stage,
yes,
I need to have my name said right.
You just need to have like the pronunciation under it so everybody can say it right.
Brittany Hayes calls me Jane. Jane resolved all the problems in our team.
Okay, but you can pronounce it for everybody on the Zoom so that they know from now on.
It's hard because we live in a French part of Canada, and here people say Gian. But in English, it sounds like you need to say something more. So there's no like English, but that's okay. No worries.
I'm just going to call you Jay.
Yeah, Jay, whatever. Claire says Jay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So can you guys share a little bit about your story, how you even found the business, and what his first reaction was, how you guys have grown as a couple?
Yay. Okay. So we are from Canada. I enrolled under Claire Flores, for all of you who don't know her. And it was very random. Like, we were in a very difficult place financially. I had a lot of health issues, back pain and everything. And I was like desperately looking for something. And I remember on December 31st of 2015. Yeah. I was sitting home. He was working like 3 jobs all the time, always working. We're never together. And I was like crying at the table, and I was watching this random YouTube video about this mom routine. And then I was just scrolling in the comments, and then this guy, Brian, had wrote, what did he write? He said, what moms do is so huge, and I really appreciate like all you women out there. If you're looking for something to like have freedom and be with your kids at home, my wife has retired me. We're home full time. So I'm like, what is this? So then I looked up Brian everywhere. Then I found Claire. Then I messaged her like the second I found her. I'm like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? And then she told me, and then I'm like, okay, I'll give you an answer tomorrow. And we're like, we never thought of doing an MLM. Like, we were not attracted to this. Like, we had so many friends doing it, and we were always approached. Like, people were like, oh, you're talking to everybody, you should do this. And we're always like, no, we're not like doing this. And we studied a lot. Like, we have masters in nursing and everything. So we were in that mindset of like, no, we have a good job. Like, we studied a lot, you know? But then anyways, I jumped in, and this is where Pedro like was really helpful. I remember like talking to like about it with him, and he was like, okay, let's try this. And I remember like I signed, and I kept calling him at work. I'm like, really? Am I going to do this? Like, people are going to be like, what happened to them? They're selling wraps. And I thought the wraps were a scarf, by the way, until like my third day in the business. So I think I really bought into Claire's lifestyle. And then, yeah, this is like the funny part of our story. And then we just like hit the ground running. We were all in since day one. And I think this is what we're talking about. I think the support that he brought me, this evolves with time. In the beginning, he was still at work. So, and his train is blitzing, like talking to people. And he would like go at the gym a lot, and he was like all fit and everything. And people were like, oh, what are you doing? And he started like, he was drinking all the products there. And he would enroll, like he got me to Ruby. And then we went on the cruise. Like, we both earned the cruise, but he did it. Like, he was so good at blitzing, and I'm so bad at blitzing. Like, I do only social media. So this is what he was doing first. And then he has a business too. So I think like I'm very lucky in that way that my husband is an entrepreneur, because he knows what it's about. He knows like how hard it can be, but how rewarding it is. And he was like, now he's home. He's working full time on his business. So things switched. Like, he's not blitzing anymore as much. But the most important thing is mindset, right? You wanted to talk about communication, mindset, moral support.
Hi, Pedro. I can say your name.
Yeah, that's easier. So yeah, the thing is, because like as an entrepreneur, as like the other couple said, we built like 2 business from ground up. So we know that's very hard. Even like M&M, it's hard. It takes a lot of effort, time, and everything. So the communication side of the couple like is everything. As they said, like what you need to make sure that your husband, the wife, know what to expect from another one. So for example, I'm going to start my business. I'm going to work my business. In the evening, I would like to take care of the kids, take care of the house, and I'm going to work. And what do you expect from me? Like, for example. So just to make sure the communication is right, as the couple said before, sometimes we don't think about it. We just kind of think that they should do this and they should know that. So just like to have this in mind, the communication is so important. As I said, it takes time, it takes effort. Just make sure like your husband or your wife knows what to expect from each other. So that's the most important part.
So how did she communicate with you? Like, what are some examples of how she was communicating with you? Or was she not at first and then she learned? Or have you guys always just had like a really open relationship? Just because I think, it's easy to say the word communication, but like the reality of communication is a lot harder than, just communicate and that's all it is. So what does that want to look like?
I think his strength, I'm never the one to say, okay, I need this. Like, I'm bad at doing this. I'll be more like, I haven't signed any distributors in like a few days. And then I'm like getting down and he's like, whoa. What is this? Like, you need to have more time for you. Okay, what are we going to do? Like Friday, you're going to go out in a coffee. You're going to work. Like, he knows how to read me well. Like, if he feels like that I'm feeling that I'm in a down in my business, he's like, okay, are you working enough today? Like, is everything okay? Because like, we have 3 kids. I'm at home with my boy. One of my girls half the day, my other girl the whole day. But I get like so caught up in my mom routine that he's like, okay, are you doing your stuff? Like, do you need me to like wake up and prep the kids or do something? So I'm indirect, I think.
I need to read between the lines a lot. So So I think it's just sit down and talk. So, for example, sometimes husband need to read between lines and see what's going on. Sometimes they don't ask the stuff. We need to just read between the lines. And like, as she said, for example, in the evening time, I hate doing dishes and clean the house and everything. Because for me as an entrepreneur, I always want to produce all the time. So for me, it's like waste of time. But I know it's important for her. So I take this time in the evening, take care more of the kids and the house and everything. But as she said, she's more indirectly. So I need to find on her that something's not going as well as supposed to be. So that time we sit down, we make a plan, and then we communicate what she needs, and like we're gonna take our routines and modify some things.
One of the things that I really love that you said is like, you said I haven't just signed a distributor in a couple of days. You know, you don't let it get to the point where it's a couple of months, right? And I think that that's so huge, because sometimes we can be in our own feelings so much, especially as women, depending on what time of the month it is and all the other stuff that we have going on and we're lucky enough to deal with. Sometimes it's just like we get in our feelings and we're like, oh my gosh, like I do everything. And, you know, you just feel like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. But like for you, you were like a couple of days. So it's not like you are waiting until it's been 3 months and your business is totally, you know, in the wrong direction. You know, where I think that can sometimes be people's problems, is they wait until the water is freaking hot and then it's a big explosion, right? And so that's one thing that I want to point out that I think is really good advice for people to pick up on, is making sure that you're communicating early and often, right? And so before, maybe the water is just lukewarm. Don't let it get boiling.
Yeah,
like
I think we're very focused.
Yeah.
We always we write down our goals. We have we're accountability partners for each other. So we know what the other needs to do. If we're like in a promotion month, or like when I went diamond, he knew that I wanted diamond and I was going diamond. So he was taking care of the kids a lot. Like I was working a lot more than what I do usually. And then sometimes he's like, okay, I need to like crush this and this for my business. So I'm going to be like MIA for 3 days. And we just like adapt to each other. But support is not only in like help, because he never did like my social media. He never did like all those things. But the simple things like, oh, conference is coming and we don't have a babysitter, I'll take care of the kids. Like not feeling that this for him is a burden, or because he knows how important it is to me. So it's natural.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that type of support too. I don't have to tell him, okay, I need to like discuss with you tonight. Could I go? And could you like, I think when you build it for like a few months and you're in the business for a few months, a few years, now I'm approaching my 2 years in end of December, but you really get to know like what the other needs.
Yeah. And I think too that, you know, even him seeing like how much conference has meant to you, and like you being able to communicate with him too from that standpoint is huge. You know, I know that before I even like went to conference, I was like, why do people need to go to these conventions? Those are only for like crazy people, you know? And I didn't know like what it was like. I just didn't have an open mind when it came to that stuff. And so a lot of people don't. And sometimes we just assume that our spouse is on the same level, like as we're growing, that they're growing. And sometimes, you know, we're doing our own self-development, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily doing that. So not taking that knowledge and that, you know, whatever you've been growing with for granted, and kind of saying, oh, I forgot that, you know, you don't realize it because you've never been, or, you know, you don't understand how important it is to me. So just really, like you said, just kind of making sure that you guys can read between the lines. That's awesome. I feel like that's just testimony to your guys' relationship.
Yeah.
For sure. Is there anything before I move on that you guys wanted to add that you feel like was just super like a turning point, or like maybe a tough time that you had that really grew your relationship together in the business? And I know you said that you wanted to talk about too, like mindset, and like how that mindset from your own business as being an entrepreneur has helped her, you know, when she is feeling down.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, like the mindset part. And also, we think it's so important to talk about those rough patches too, because it's not like it's lying to say that we don't have them. Right before the cruise was a hard time. Yeah. Like I went Ruby, he went Ruby, we earned the cruise. And then I had a few like dry weeks. And everything was like, my volume was lower. My team, like we didn't have this momentum anymore. Things were getting so hard that I was like, might as well not even go to that cruise. You know, I got to that point and Pedro was like, what? He's like, are you kidding me? We earned the cruise, like we're going. And he's like, this is gonna like change our life. I know it, blah, blah. I never wanted to quit the business though. I just was in like this hard, it was like the first time in a few months that I had joined that it was harder. And then his mind is so strong. Like his mind is always strong. He's never down. He's never doubting. He's never like anything of those things. So life must be so more simpler.
No, just like I built like my mind around the business. I trust it. I believe in the business. Like I believe that entrepreneurship, like it brings so much reward. So I know it's tough. I know it's hard. So just when you have a hard time, as Jim Ross says, after winter there is spring. Every year after winter there is spring. So even have a hard time, the spring gonna come. So just be tough during winter, and then the spring gonna come. So just I believe that in the hard time, the good time gonna come after. So so I support her that way. So even if it's hard sometimes, we go down and just work harder and gonna go up again. So it's normal, it's business. Yeah.
I love that. I seriously think that that's awesome. I don't think I've heard that before. When the winter comes, there's always going to be the spring, you know, and one of the pieces of advice people say, like, what's the best advice you give to people when it comes to overcoming obstacles? I'm like, just expect that they're going to come. You know, I mean, everybody goes through them, and if you can expect that they're going to come, it's so much easier to deal with. It's like, you know, when you're driving on a road, you don't know there's a road bump, and then all of a sudden you hit the road bump, and you're like, oh my gosh, I did not expect that. But then if you expect it, you know, you slow down and you go over it, and it's just a lot easier. So I really appreciate you guys hopping on. It means a lot, and I love your guys' story. You guys are so awesome.
So yeah, just like to finish, if you guys don't know Jim Rohn, just go listen to his videos. He was the mentor for Tony Robbins, and so he always speak about life as the season. So you have winters, the hard time, have spring, and then you have summer when you're supposed to seed, and then you have autumn when you can take what you seed, and then you have always life is like a circle. Like this circle, we're gonna always do the same thing. After an opportunity, there's hard time, and after hard time, there's an opportunity. So just think like that as a circle, and you're always gonna have your mind strong. So that's pretty nice.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks for having us.
Hopping on.
We're not hearing you.
Okay, Brittany, and Zach, what's up? You guys are next.
Yeah, good.
You still feel okay? Brittany, are you there? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. What's up?
Hi.
How are you guys? Are you feeling okay?
I am. I'm feeling okay right now.
It's been a good day.
Okay, touch and go. Just let me know if you need to step out. Okay. So if you guys would just kind of start in, I am so interested to hear this because you always compliment Zach like on your posts, and just, you know, you are always saying what an awesome partner he is for you in the business. And so I would just love to hear how your guys' journey went. And Zach, kind of what your thoughts were when she came to you with this, and how, you know, God has worked on your heart through it all.
So we joined 15 months ago, and Claire Flores is my enroller. Claire and Zach, a lot of y'all probably don't know this, but they're actually like cousins, like cousin-in-laws. Yeah, Zach, like her brother-in-law is Zach's cousin. So anyways, so we like met them when we all briefly lived in North Carolina together, and then we all moved to different states. That was way before ItWorks. And when she joined, I was one of her first customers for hair, skin, and nails, and I was happy to support her. I never thought of the business side of it. I had done an MLM like years ago, a makeup company, and it was like total flop. Like it was just such a hassle with inventory. I spent more than I made, and so I was just like not about that. But I was happy to support her, and like I had never heard of ItWorks until Claire joined. So I was her customer for 11 months. We watched her the whole time. Every single promotion.
Both of us.
Yeah, like every single promotion they had, we were like, holy cow. And it wasn't just them, like we were seeing all of their team promote too. And so we were very intrigued, but I guess you could just say we were like, oh, it wouldn't work for us. Like
we were busy.
Yeah, and speaking of owning your own business, like Jane and Pedro were saying, like we actually owned our own business.
I had a pond and lake management business at the time, and I was working my butt off trying to grow it.
So I kind of like never even really thought about the side of our business. And so it wasn't to the point where we had our 4th baby, money was tighter than tight, medical bills were piling up, credit card bills were piling up, that I'm like, I just told Zach, I was like, I feel like God is telling me this is what we need. And he was like, go for it. He was like, cool. And I'm like, really? I'm like, we never talked.
Heck yeah. You see how much money they're making?
Yeah. And that was his response. And I was like, well, why didn't you ever encourage me to do it before? He's like, well, I know you wanted to. But it's like literally the second I said I wanted to do it, he was like, go for it. Like, I know it's working because look at them and we trust them.
We can totally do this.
So I like literally shocked Claire and just texted her one night. I was like, hi, I would like to join your team. What do I do? And she was like, what? So anyways, that was how we joined. The rest is history. He's always been super supportive of me with having that entrepreneurial mindset. He's always been the one that, like, if I'm down, he's like, well, this is what you do. Like, you've got it. You're a rock star. Like, he's got a great mindset.
Because I cold called people for 2 straight years.
Yeah.
And if there's something that makes you have a good mindset, it's getting told no like 50 times a day. That'll make you immune to it. So.
And he was like literally face to face with his sales, with his business. So he was like being told no, that was no big deal for him. So like if I got, like no's and stuff on social media, like he, or someone was messaging me about a product and gave me the runaround for 6 months, he's like, just bear with them, it'll be fine. Because some of our biggest customers with our pond business, I mean, he had to follow up with months and months and months and months.
Years.
So like we got like, that was one thing. We were in this for the long term, not the short term. And we've always had a long-term mindset. It took us 4 months to go Ruby, 7 months to go Diamond. And like, we've never thought that was like a big deal. Like we might see team members going Ruby in 23 days, but for us, like it was okay. We're like, we're in this for the long haul. Yeah. So I guess that's kind of like how it all started off with. So when we started, he was still working full time. I was at home with our 4 kids. It was summertime, kids were out of school. So I mean, I had all of them 24/7. And he just was really supportive in like a lot of behind the scenes ways. And he also would get up a little bit extra early every morning and help me with Instagram. So he, we've got Instagram on my iPad too. And so like he'd get up when I was still asleep with the baby and stuff. And he would just literally add like 200 people to my network and like a bunch of people, the morning people stuff. So I'd wake up and have all these requests of people wanting to follow me back. And that just was like, it was so simple, but it was so valuable because it allowed me to like put my effort into like good posts and keeping the kids alive during the day, and then
which is hard,
growing my Facebook network. But him doing that Instagram, like that thing was just, I mean, I feel like it's something so simple, like any husband could help with, but like, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't think to do that. But it literally, he did that for what, like 7 months straight. Every morning.
I wanted to move. I wanted to go to the beach. I was ready to be retired, guys.
He literally told me, he was like, you're going to retire me like Claire retired Brian. Like, let's go. And so 7 months in was whenever we brought him home. And so he literally took my Instagram from 300 followers to like over 4,000 in like 6 months.
No time.
So that was seriously, I'm not trying to like really hone in on that, but that was like just so valuable. So I feel like, even if you don't know how you're going to help your wife, like that's something so easy that really does help a lot. Once he came home, he's kind of like, our roles have kind of evolved. Like he's taken on cooking. Actually, I forgot this. Since I started at Works, he started cooking.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a clean freak and I keep the house clean and was managing the business and all that, nursing a baby, that whole thing. So he just like came to me like really early on in the business and was like, how about I just start cooking? He's like, I like cooking. You don't even really care about it that much. Like I would like to cook. And I'm like, done.
And I make some fancy food.
And I'm more like simple casseroles and stuff, pastas. And like Zach's over here cooking gourmet meals. So he was like, I would love to cook if that's okay. I'm like, yes, I'll clean, you cook. So that was something that was really, really beneficial. Yes. And he's done that since day one. 15 months now, he's Chef Zach. So I feel like that's definitely something that that is just, even if it's not cooking, like just taking one task off of your wife's shoulder, whether it's laundry, you're going to clean the bathrooms once a week. I don't know, anything. Him taking cooking, that freed me up in the evenings to go be on Zooms, to go, like reply to messages I got throughout the day, whatever it was, and that's definitely been.
Definitely. And we had actually, we caught the vision, we had a dream and we worked towards it. It didn't matter. A lot of your messages and a lot of the stuff you had to do were coming in the evenings, even though I came in and I was nasty and been working all day, it was better for us in the long run if I helped you, remove some things from the equation, like you were saying. and it worked.
So like from the one thing I love about it, it's like, so from day one, you were just like, yeah, you're going to retire me. That's it. Like you were like, that's our goal. Cause I think sometimes like as women, we get so caught up in like what we want to do, right? Like I want to retire. I want to do this stuff. And I want to like have all these like goals and these dreams. And sometimes we forget to include what do they want to do? What does our spouse want to do? You know, what are their dreams and goals? And like, it sounds so simple and like, it feels dumb that I'm even saying this, you know, but sometimes I think we just forget that part of it. Like, it's like, well, oh, let's create our dream board. And yeah, you might have like family things, but like, have you ever like sat down and asked your husband, like, what are your dreams? Like, would you want to be a stay-at-home dad? Would you want to, you know, like, I know Brian, like, I kind of half joke, but half not, like, you should just go try out for like this, like work on your golf game for a senior PGA tour. And like, you know, just like hopefully eventually get it there. And, but I think that makes it so much more eager to help because you have a vested interest in it, right? Because if we retire, that doesn't really affect them. You know, but if you guys are both looking like to be a full-time stay-at-home family, then it does affect, you know, you. So just kind of keeping it simple with that. I think that's an awesome point. Okay, go ahead.
Well, and for us too, like we love the concept of like having our own business and owning our own time, but we quickly realized like with pond management, and I mean, this goes for any business. I'm sure anyone else on here that's a business owner can relate. Like that's not like It Works. Anything else is there's a lot of other work that goes into other businesses. And like with It Works, it's so simple. Like we have our back office completely done for us. Like, you know, like we can pull reports and look at this and that. And like with what we were doing, I mean, I was keeping up with QuickBooks, like he was going payroll, like he was going out in the field and like selling. Like, I mean, it was a lot of like hands-on work. And so hard. We love, like we were all about having our own business, but he quickly realized like, you know, I thought this was my dream, but this isn't my dream. Like I
can't even fish.
Yeah.
I love fishing and I didn't fish for 2 years. Like, I'm like, this is not what I signed up for.
And with our business, it was like the busier we got, the more he was gone. And he was like, this isn't what I want. Like this isn't the part of, like, that's not why I wanted my own business, you know? So that was kind of our mindset from the beginning was he was like, you're going to retire me, like Claire retired Brian, like, let's go. So 7 months in was when he came home. And our dreams have like constantly evolved. So like we never even knew we wanted to live at the beach until around that time. It was around the time, yeah, it was like right before he came home. He came home in January. It was around Christmas. We were just like, why don't we move to the beach? Because we knew I was going Diamond that month and I was really close to double. I went double 2 months after Diamond and then he went double the month after me. And so we were like, okay, if we're both doubles, we can definitely move to the beach. Like we definitely can. And so that was just kind of our thing. So he went double in April. We set all our plans to move to the beach in May, moved here in June, went triple in June. And so for us, it's like, we have very open communication about like, what do we want? And we still talk now, like, what do we want next? You know? And like, we joke around about moving to, what's it called? The island, Bokeelia Island. Yeah, Mark's Island is Little Bokeelia, and then there's the big, I'm probably not even saying right.
They have this really nice fancy house, like
we're looking at this like this $4 million house like on this island that's like 7 acres. But like we dream big. And so for us, like that keeps us pushing harder and harder is we're not just comfortable living at the beach. Like we want like our own little corner of an island, you know, and that's like for Zach, he's really, really good at like keeping that long-term insight, and that pushes him with the short-term. So he, just some other things.
Zach, I have a question. Can you explain, like from a guy's perspective, what you did with Instagram? Because I know we can explain it as girls, but I want a guy to explain like what you did just to keep it simple. And I think that like hearing it from a guy, it just like you guys have your own language sometimes. So it will be really good. Like how you found people, like what your accounts look like, all that stuff.
Okay, so basically I just added her account onto my Instagram account, and I basically never use my Instagram account because I just basically do everything off of hers. Instagram just worked for me and was from that point on. So I added her Instagram onto my Instagram account, and I just worked it. When I say worked it, she was, you know, breastfeeding mother at the time, so I went on to every breastfeeding page I could find, and I'm like adding everybody that looks halfway decent, you know, I'm like adding them on, and I seriously, that's basically all I did. I went to every mother breastfeeding site and added them on. And anytime they put up a picture of somebody, of their kid breastfeeding or whatever, I'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, it's so beautiful. You know, bless you. And it's so great. And I would just like write all this stuff. And like, I tried to mimic as much as I could how she sounded so it wouldn't be weird whenever they actually had a conversation. So like, I don't know, it was definitely a stretch, like trying to evolve into this weird thing, you know, I don't know, be her at times, you know, in the morning.
But I mean, you know her better than anybody, so you could be her better than anybody. Do you know what I mean?
It was super cool because she'd be like, hey, I got a customer today. I'm like, which one? Who was it? I'm like, connect with her. And so I would see the fruits of my labor. So then I would like fuel me. I'm like, I can totally do this. Since I'm just like liking and commenting the crap out of it.
Literally over half of my customers and half of my distributors have all come from Instagram. And no joke, they're almost always who Zach's interacting with. So like he was saying, if I tell him a customer's name I just signed for Skin and Nails, and he realizes it was someone he just told him their baby was cute 3 days ago, I mean, he's like so pumped. He's like
yes.
So that's always been, like, that's always
so awesome. Brian does that too. Like, I mean, not that he works my Instagram, but like, whole, you know, people in his network will like maybe just like be like, oh, what about her or something, and then like if she signed, he's like, put her on my team, like she's going right.
That's my girl. Yeah,
he does the same thing. He'll be like, are you going on my team? I'm like, I don't know, I gotta look.
But yeah, so I basically just did that, and I would just go through and just till my brain wanted to like pop out of my head, just like, you know, as many people as I could.
He would sometimes get off the iPad and he'd be like, I'm so overstimulated right now. And I'm like, you're so dramatic. He's like, no, I just liked like 500 things. But that's always been super fruitful. But the other thing he's been doing a lot of, especially now that he's home, is he's really big into blitzing.
Oh, I friggin' love it.
So I'm like 100% social media. I'm super shy in public. I mean, if I'm in a group of people and I know them, I'm fine. But if I'm like around people I don't know, I'm definitely shy. So I've like had to evolve with blitzing slowly but surely. But Zach will, because he was in sales for so long, like he will talk to anybody. So he has legit signed his customers and distributors from being out blitzing, but he doesn't. I mean, he just like talks to everybody. Like now we live in a neighborhood and we're like the youngest people in the neighborhood. Everyone's retired. And we have like a little private pier in the neighborhood that Zach goes and fishes off. And there's always old people up there like watching the sunset or the sunrise.
And that's where I'm at every night.
So he takes the kids on bike rides to the pier, like at sunset, because he knows all old people are going to be there. And because we're so young and like they're all way older than us, they're always like, what do y'all do? How do y'all live here? And so Zach's like, oh, let me tell you, we do It Works, blah, blah. And like he's had old ladies want to buy wraps from us because like he just talks their ear off and they think he's just like this great guy. And they're, you know, a lot of times their kids live in other states. So they kind of like look at him as like a son, you know, they're adopting and they like play with our kids.
And have a cute kid. Always have a cute kid, all right?
He always
kids are great.
He always takes the sweetest kid, you know? He'll take Silas because Silas can't talk yet. He's really sweet.
People like come up to you and want to talk to you and it's like automatic open.
But like that's been really good for us is like having that balance. Like social media is my strength and blitzing is his. And so I think just kind of like, you know, and for some people I know it's like the opposite. Like the woman's outgoing. So, and I heard, I can't remember, it was Tristan Eli were saying like he's like the back office, like that's not their thing. And like that's how it is for us too. Like Zach would much rather go out and talk to somebody than he would do anything. But I know, but I know like Claire and Brian, it's the opposite. Brian loves doing reports. So I think just like finding what works for you and like figuring out like, okay, what could I, and a lot of times it's going to be the opposite of your wife. So I think just like, you know, anything you can do that maybe is like her weakness is just going to make you guys that much stronger in the business. One thing too is like this was like a tip that like Claire gave us like around the time I went triple, but we call Zach the complaint department. So like Zach, complaints go to Zach. So like I'm really busy, and, you know, I like a promotion. Sorry, there's like a lot of people.
All right, hold on. You gotta unmute yourself again, Brittany. I'm gonna.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I had to mute everybody.
But we've like for the past, I guess, like 5 months, we've like joked around and called Zach the complaint department because
I'm totally cool with
like I'm a very driven, self-disciplined person. So I've got like what I'm doing that day. If I sign 3 new distributors, like I'm working really closely with them and talking to them, making sure they're good. And if I'm getting like complaints from all angles out of nowhere, like that's the kind of thing that'll throw me off my game. Because I'm just not a complainer. Like I I'm a very solution driven person. So a solution minded person. So if like something's going wrong, I'm just going to figure out how I can make it better. So that's one thing that's like a weakness for me is like, if people have complaints, like I'm like, okay, like.
And I come from a long line of complainers. So
yeah, his family's like very negative. So Zach's used to having to be the person that mends everything. And it's like he's the least negative person in his family. He's like always the peacemaker.
I'm not on here.
So yeah, no. So my family. So what we like, if someone is like super negative or down and like maybe their volume's low or the whatever, and they're just having a hard time, like Zach is the great person to pump them up.
Come to Big Daddy. I'll take care of it.
Like he's a blue, and so he wants everybody
figured out.
He wants everybody to be happy. Whereas like I'm just so red. Sometimes like I don't say the right things, and so because we've learned that, it's been really great. Like having Zach taking on that role, and it's funny because he loves it when he can talk to someone and like encourage them and they're better. Like we had a month where it just seemed like it was like one person after another, and like he would literally talk to somebody. And then they'd be
give me another one, girl, I'm ready.
They would be so happy after talking to him. He'd be like calling me out with the kids. He's like, all right, she's good now. He's like, she's happy. She's got a plan. He's like, send me another. And I'm like, no, like we don't. But yeah, anyways, but that's just, yeah, that's a random.
How does that like communicate? Like, how does that work with the team? You're like, hey, don't complain to me. You need to go to Zach. Like, how did you start that to make it not be like that? Because that's what it can sound like. I'm not saying that's how it is, but how do you be sensitive enough to be like, hey, I don't want to hear your BS. Like, I'm really too red for this crap. Can you just please talk to somebody else? Like, like sometimes you want to say, but how do you make it to where that was what happened?
So, and Rachel asked if he calls them or messages. He mostly voice messages, especially if he doesn't already have their number. He's just going to voice message him on Facebook. But if they wanted to talk on the phone, he would. He's super open to that, but usually he'll just start with sending him a voice message and being like, hey, Brittany told me this was going on. But basically, like let's say this happens a lot. Like, let's say maybe someone's volume was lower than expected. And so they're like, what's going on? Like, what do I do? Or maybe someone's paycheck was slightly lower. This is a good example. We had an executive whose paycheck was like really low one month. And she was like, this isn't like, it was higher last month and my volume's higher this month, but why isn't it, why is my check lower? Something like that. And I think it was because it was something with like, it was all on the 4th and 5th level. I don't remember. But basically, I looked at E-Street really quick, and I was like, okay, I know exactly what it is. And I just said, hey, Zach's taking care of all, volume-related issues ever since I went triple, because our team literally went from 170 to 450. So, because of that massive growth and me having to focus on training, any volume-related issues, Zach's going to handle them from now on. So go ahead and shoot him a message on Facebook, and he'll walk you through what happened. And so
it's super easy for him.
Yeah, it's super easy for him. So then she sent him a message, and he immediately starts voice messaging with her and was like, here's the issue. Like, yes, you're executive, but all of that volume you were placing last month, you put too far down. You put on your 5th level. We really need to get you to Ruby, and then she felt super confident, and she went Ruby. She was like, okay, I got to go Ruby this month. She was charted. She was like, all right, I know what I need to do. And then was super happy when her paycheck went dramatically up with Ruby, because now she was getting paid on that. So even though that was something like I could handle, like for me, like Zach would handle that to the level that they wanted that to be handled. Like he is very, like his attitude being a blue is going to be different than me as a red.
Nothing's ever as bad as it seems in the moment. So it's just talking people off the cliff and just refocusing their attention. Like, it's really not so bad. We're going to get this taken care of.
And sometimes for me, because I'm so direct, like I can just sound so, whatever.
Stop.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, this is what you need to do. But because he takes that extra time and he doesn't feel so busy like I do, he really can. It's worked out beautifully. So that was a tip we got from Claire, and we've done that since June. And it's been golden. Like, our team loves Zach, and they really appreciate that time he takes with them to he really listens and then gives them, I think, that more thorough explanation that they want.
Right. I love that. Okay. Anything else before we move on? That's just so awesome.
I think the only other thing we would say is we both make sure we're doing our self-development, because if just I'm doing it, like Zach is more likely to
have a bad attitude or something.
No, you just he just gets kind of lost in the mundane of kids and everything, because he's really hands-on with our kids and stuff. And so one thing we've learned is we both have to be doing self-development, and maybe it's completely different. But he wakes up every morning, first thing, puts Stephen Furtick on YouTube on the TV. And we've noticed a big difference in both of us when we start our day off with that. And that's definitely I feel like made him, I don't know. Now that he's home, especially, that's just been like.
It's helped to keep me and make me have a better attitude.
And I think even if like, you know, your husband on here and you're still working, I think like listening to self-development on your way to work, even if you don't think you're that active in the business, like it's only going to make your attitude towards work, towards life, towards your wife, towards your kids, like everything better. Because we've definitely noticed it's helped Zach a lot.
Definitely.
I love that. Thank you guys so much. I hope everybody on here is like taking notes and loving it, because I'm learning seriously so much. Just different ideas are like running through my head. And I know we're running a little bit over, but just bear with us because this is all stuff you're really going to want to hear. So don't miss out. Okay. Next up we have Rachel. Thank you guys so much, Brittany and Zach. Rachel, what's up, girl? What's up, Zach?
Hey.
He's like, Rachel only.
I didn't even hear that. So what are you guys up to? Are you loving this? Zach, have you been getting some good ideas?
No doubt. I appreciate I think I've taken something from everybody.
Yeah, this has been so awesome. So if you guys can just tell us about your journey, like just for people, like brief story about how you've progressed, Rach, and then how, Zach, I kind of want you to just give your side of how you have progressed. Because I want it to come from you, because I think sometimes when it comes straight from the guy, it can be like, wow, I didn't know you saw it like that sometimes. So if Rach, you tell how you've progressed, and then Zach, tell them how you've kind of like mentally progressed in the business.
That's good, because we were talking during the first one, and I was like, okay, so he was like, so I'm just going to cut in then while you're talking, and I was like, okay, I'll talk slow, but I really like that. Well, that's good. Okay, so I like that we're on this because we're all so different, first of all, for the most part. There's a couple of things that I'm like, yes, we do that too, just a little different. So I've learned a lot, but something that's different about Zach and I from everybody else is, I mean, maybe not, maybe we're just more openly going to share it, but we've had it hard because we came home 5 months into the business, and I was so fired up and pumped up that like I never slowed down to show Zach anything. Sorry, Zach, if this is awkward. The whole time Zach was like, this is weird. There's another Zach on it. So I feel like, and he's right under my vision, so I feel like I'm talking to this Zach. But I never took the time to show him anything. And I remember in the beginning of the business, honestly, like the first 3/4 of my business, we've been in it for 3 years. I would get so caught, and this makes me sound so crappy, but I'm just so open and honest about this. I would get so caught up in looking at all these other couples that look so perfect on social media, and I would get straight ticked off. Not that Zach and I had a bad marriage, but I was like, why can't you be more like him? Why can't we love each other a little bit more on Facebook? Why can't we do this? And you get so caught up, and I know I'm not the only one that has felt this way, but you get so caught up in looking at all these other couples that look so perfect. And I would just be like, I mean, I don't even know if I'd be mean to Zach, but I would be like, I would just slowly jab in and take away his manhood kind of. And he would get so upset, like, why are you so, like, you're so caught up in comparing ourselves to them as if our marriage sucks? And I never realized how bad I was until I stopped doing it. And I can look back on it. And so I moved really fast in the beginning. And he didn't really catch the vision until I got my comma and my first diamond paycheck. But we came home 5 months in, and I just kept on going so fast by myself. And so I would get so mad that Zach wouldn't help me. But then when he would try to help, or he would make a post, I would just kind of like tear him apart. Why would you make that post? That sounds stupid. And like, I would just be so mean because it wasn't how I wanted it to be, but I wouldn't take the time to train him how I wanted it to be. So I was just a little bit horrible. But I think about how we're presidential, so we've hit 4 major promotions. And something I told him that I wanted to talk about fast was that out of all 4 of those promotions, obviously presidential should be the hardest, right? It's the biggest one. That was the easiest one we've had together because communication became number 1. And it's funny because we've all of us couples have talked about communication, but we communicated on April 1st. I knew I was going to go presidential diamond, and we communicated, and it was such a breeze. Like, multiple people on my team and Tiffany and Megan were like, why are you so calm? And I'm like, everything's working out the way it's supposed to be. And I got my husband on board, and it makes it so much easier when you just sit down and communicate and don't expect them to just get it because it makes sense to us. I think that as women, we are so like business minded, and like we see the money and we see that we're good at it and we go hard, and it's hard to like, it feels like we're kind of dragging them. And I was dragging him, but then I kind of like let go of the leash and left him behind. And there came up, oh, you can talk now. Sorry. Do you want to talk about like, okay, babe, take it away, babe. I'm not gonna take away your manhood.
So I mean, I'll just start from, like, she started from her beginning, and I'll start from mine. So initially she came to me with the business, and we had just gotten engaged, and I had financed that ring. We were 21, and I said no because I mean there was two major things. One, I just financed that ring, and I needed to pay for that, not for some new hobby she wanted to start. And two is she had tried another MLM company in previous years, and it was a complete flop. So it was a no for me. She did it anyways, and and I think what really, like, not even gave me an active role in the business, but really, like, changed my mindset about the entire business itself is seeing that my significant other found, like, a passion, like a super passion, that it was making her happy, and she felt like she was doing something more than just going and waiting on tables. So I mean, that felt good. And like she said, when that first comma came in the paycheck, I was like, wow. Like, this is cool. Maybe you can come home and not have to work, and we'll save a ton of money on car insurance by switching to Geico. No, we'll save a ton of money on like daycare. We won't have to pay for daycare, blah, blah, blah. Never in a million years did I think that I was going to be coming home at the same time she came home. Never. Like, I didn't even want that. Well, I probably did, but like it just was never a realistic option. So like she said, 5 months in, we both came home. And at that point, it's almost like an epiphany I had. And that is that I heard a couple people earlier say that something about a guy not having, or your spouse not having a role in the business. And I would have to completely disagree with that. If you're in a relationship, you automatically have a role in this business. And the reason I say that is because being married to somebody, you have to support them, and I mean, part of being with somebody is like having a desire to make them happy. And so if you're supporting your significant other, you're doing things to take stuff off their plate. I mean, that's simple. Whether it's like doing the dishes or doing things with the kids, and that was me. Like, I didn't come into this full force going in and, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this person and whatever. You can do things outside of the active business and still have a role in the business. And essentially that role is you being a husband or boyfriend, whatever, and making them happy. By you showing interest or just like listening to her when she's talking about a problem she's having on her team, or she comes to you for advice on what she should say to this person, because let's face it, sometimes women are super dramatic, and sometimes us guys just kind of need to reel them in a little bit. So, and that's what I was saying is there is no man in this business, or no man who has a wife in this business that does not have a role in this business. You do. It comes with the territory. So like I was saying, I think that was a huge turning point for me, is just realizing that it wasn't just about her, it was about us. Like, we were a team, and that wasn't just in the business, it was in our relationship as well. And Rachel and I have been together since we were 17 years old. We're high school sweethearts, and I mean, you would think that maybe communication comes easy to us, but it does not. And like Rachel said, every single couple that has spoke so far on this Zoom, communication has been a hot topic. And I would just stress that we as guys tend to be better communicators on a literal aspect, whereas women tend to talk more emotionally. So we just need to realize that, guys. We just need to realize that our women are dramatic, and we can help them with that. And that can be a role in the business. And that's my biggest role. I don't bring in a bunch of people. If Rachel asks me what she thinks I should say, I mean, I have a management background, so I can give her like a management aspect to like our team.
He's so downplaying that. When it comes to our team, every time, like, he makes it seem if Rachel needs help, whenever there's anything having to do, whether it's a crap load of drama or it's something, because I'm yellow and my feelings get hurt, and when my feelings get hurt, I don't handle it appropriately, and it makes me unprofessional because I'm immature in that sense. I'm just going to be honest. And so him having that manager background and just being such a completely opposite person than me, every single situation, not just sometimes, every situation. Like if it, sorry to cut him off, but he's not giving himself enough credit in this situation. Like whether I'm telling you, whether it's like a crazy drama situation, like someone was so disrespectful or something little that is just a little bit maybe touchy, I will talk to him about it. And what I love is that when Brittany and Zach shared what they do, and now I want to just kind of pawn it all off on him, I just go to him behind the scenes and I'm like, babe, and I'm like, I need to talk to you before I respond to this person because I think she just really tried to hurt my feelings. And I tell him about it. I used to just answer them, and then I'd go to him and I'd be like, get a load of this BS. And he'd be like, just stop responding, dude. Come to me first. And so I'll come to him and I'll read it to him. And I always read it in a certain tone because we're females. And he'll be like, whoa, babe, like that's totally not what she meant. I totally know that. Why don't you respond like this? And it helps me. And he talks me off the ledge because he's the calm to my storm. So that's stuff that you don't see. And it's stuff that I used to do on my own all the time. But I think that it's such a big thing to allow them to do. And I'm totally not trying to just take your spotlight, but I have to say something else first real quick. Another thing that he does really well behind the scenes is that, and this is what I had, it was hard for me to do, but I realized like something that would make me, I finally got to the point where I'm like, okay, I get it. He's not going to enroll people really, and he's not going to be out there like blitzing and being like the Joel Dunn. He's not going to do that. And that's okay.
Because that's not me.
That's not him.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That's not me. You can't force your spouse to be something they're not.
We would have like, I'm telling you, like full-blown arguments, days of arguments, because I was trying to make him do these things because I didn't understand why he couldn't. I'm like, you have the potential, babe. And he was just like, it's just not me. I don't hate It Works. It's nothing against that, but I'm just me. And so I finally stopped trying to change him. And one of the biggest things that I think helped me and us so much, so like, I mean, I don't know if he compared himself to other men, but something that I just appreciate him doing was I finally got to a point where I got my charts out and I had to get him on a time where he really wanted to know, because I'm telling you guys, don't try to get your husband to help you on Sunday football day and then get ticked off because they don't really care to help you. Like I took a time when both of our kids were sleeping. I brought him into the office. I got out my Pres chart before I went Preds, and I'm like, here's my main strong legs, and here's this person, and this person could easily be here. And I just like kind of poured it all on him to where he would understand. And then from that moment on, every single time I signed a distributor or a loyal, I would sit next to him and I'd be like, okay, I signed a loyal, 30 GV, 5 people need it. What's the best option? And then he finally, like, he would just listen and be like, babe, you do you, whatever you want. And I would do it, but at least I voiced it to him. And then he eased into, I think she needs it more. And then he would ease into, I say you match this person and this person, make them match you and make them fight for it. And like, he's active in that sense, but you just don't see those things because it's behind closed doors. So I think that we get, I'm not sure if every woman does this, but instead of just expecting them to know and getting so annoyed when they don't get it, because I had to explain it a few different times to him because he just doesn't get it sometimes, just understand that they are just guys. And if you make them a part of every decision, that's like, and here's the thing, I can make these decisions on my own. I'm just being honest. I don't need him to really help me, but making him a part of it, he helps me see some things that I don't see sometimes, but it's just we're us. And I think what's crazy, sorry, I don't want to talk super long, but what about like at Michigan boot camp, that talk we had about, you said it felt like I just kind of dragged you around behind me.
That was
Michigan? Oh, Tennessee.
Yeah, I was actually going to hit this real quick because I guess they kind of tie into each other. There was one point in the business, it was actually at the beginning of this year, end of last year, where I felt like I had lost myself, not just in the business, but because I wasn't like being the man that I was used to being. And like, I have like a strong desire and like, I have joy when I like build things, or like I can do something and immediately see results. I'm not like long-term results kind of guy. So I felt like I needed to go back to work because I wasn't doing anything. Like I felt like, and part of this came because I was being compared to other guys in this business. And like I was still doing things, but it almost felt like it wasn't enough. And I'm not trying to rip on you here, babe.
No, it's true.
But it almost felt like I wasn't doing enough. So I was like, man, I got to go back to work. It's like, I lost my place in this business. And I think that kind of ties in with what she was saying was, I almost felt like, or feel like sometimes going to these It Works events and things like that I'm just like there just to follow. But that's not me. I'm not a follower. Like I like to be, we're partners in this. So I don't know where you wanted me to go with that, but
he just spoke up. He spoke up, and like we've been in such a good place since I went pres, because I'm telling you, that was the easiest. I put in a lot of hard work, but it was the easiest on our relationship because we were on the same page of it's going to be a cycle month. Let's just love each other and communicate. And something that we've been implementing recently is on Sundays we sit down and we got this calendar. This calendar works for us. It's on my desk, and so like I write, this is all my handwriting, but on Sundays we've been sitting down because he has stuff to do and he's been flipping our house, and it gives him joy. He's not getting paid for that, but that's his passion right now. Is kind of being a construction person, whatever. And so on Sundays, instead of me planning my schedule, because I sometimes feel like my stuff's more important, we just sit down and talk. And like we just did this yesterday, and I'm like, okay, babe, so we were in Mexico all last week. I need you to know that I know you're finishing siding our house, but like I need 3 good hardcore work days all day long. So we decided which 3 days I would be good leaving the house and being gone all day, and what was good with his schedule, instead of me just taking control and being like, babe, I'm sorry, but I made plans Monday through Thursday. So you're daddy duty. We do it together, and that's huge. And so we've been on such a good level together. But at the Tennessee boot camp afterwards, and it wasn't even a fight, it wasn't even a thing, but he was just like, babe, I have to tell you something. And I think we finally got to the point of where he can speak up if his feelings are hurt, and he's not sensitive at all. And he just was kind of just voicing like, I feel like when we're at events and just stuff with It Works, like you just kind of are so fast and you just kind of leave me behind, and you don't introduce me, and you don't he was telling me these little things, and I'm like, babe, has that really been bothering you? Because I thought you were big enough that you could introduce yourself, and like little things like that. And he just voiced it in the sense of like, I'm still kind of shy, and I'm still trying to get out there the best I can, and it would make me feel more of a part of it if we talked together side by side, rather than you always being on a run and leaving me to freaking follow you, and it's always, this is Rachel Jones, and then her freaking friend in the background. So it just comes back to communication, and it's something we're not taught. And we've had, I'm telling you, some of the ugliest fights since we joined It Works, because I'm so close-minded in the sense of like, in my head, I'm like, dude, I'm a boss babe, and I'm bringing us so much money, like just respect, just respect. And it's not like that, and it takes away something from them, and we've gotten into fights. So
it's funny that you say that. I was talking to somebody else, and I was like, it's crazy because, especially when you are promoting and you're seeing so much money and you're seeing like the results and the fruits of your labor, like literally come to pass, it can almost be addicting to some degree. And I was like, I had this like epiphany last night, and I had this moment with myself, and I was like, I cannot build this legacy and have nobody to share it with.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that we lose sight of that. It's like we get so focused, and that's good, but we have to be disciplined at home too. We can't just be disciplined in our business. We have to be disciplined at home to put our marriage first, to put our kid, put God first, our marriage second, our kids third, and then our business, And I think that when you have that right order, then God will truly bless you, because he knows that you are to be trusted. And sometimes I lose sight of it too. I have to remind myself, and it's funny because we all know these things, but sometimes we just need to remind ourselves. So I just appreciate you guys being super vulnerable and like just, open and honest with us, because I know that like everybody can relate. Like so many people were like, oh my gosh, I can relate. But Zach, what do you think really like changed your perspective on the fact that, you don't have to do this full time, but you still can have a part of it? Like what part of, where did that come into play for you? Because I think a lot of people do have that, it's not necessarily you have to be the face of the business. But how do you still get joy from that part, from the backside of it, I guess?
Well, kind of like I was saying earlier, I have a management background. So I'm kind of like a green, but like a red, but like a blue. So I'm like all these different colors. I know.
But he's not yellow.
Yeah, I'm not yellow. Sorry. But I think like the biggest like turning point for me in this business, being a man, is like I don't ever think I've ever been like a bad boyfriend, husband, fiance. All those roles that I had. But I always felt, I didn't always feel, but I came to a realization that I could always be better. And when I came to that realization that I could be a better husband, a better spouse, and just a better God-fearing man, I think that's what gave me like a peace with not needing to like be loud, be like other people, like Joe Dunn. Like, I mean, Eli, great dude, but that's not me. Like, I'm not a vocal, super outgoing kind of guy. So I think that's what it was for me, is just essentially wanting to be better for my wife and for my God, that I was okay just listening to what my role should be and the things that I was good at, like being a dad and doing things around the house and running reports because I have that background.
What point made you see that though? I think she wants to know, like, what point in your business made you have that?
Well, like, I guess what point in not in the business, but in the relationship, I guess, like, what did you guys like have like a fight, or was it something where it was just like enough was enough and you were like, hey, listen, that's not going to be me? Like, did you stand up for yourself, or did Rachel kind of initiate the conversation and realize it on her own? Like, in your eyes, Zach, like, what was that moment for you?
I can't say that there's a specific moment. I'd say that there's more like a series of moments that led up to that. And I would say that those were almost like a feeling of disappointment in myself, because I felt inferior.
Yeah.
And I think that came through like having all these arguments and stuff about essentially me being selfish. Like, I want time, I want this, I want that. And essentially putting myself first in a lot of different things, especially time. And I think like being more willing, well, not even more willing, just a strong desire to not fight over these petty little things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is what, like, those series of argument after argument after argument, because of a lack of balance and communication, I think that's really what kind of pushed me over the edge to like just accept what I was good at, essentially.
Yeah, no, I love that. I appreciate you guys so much. Like, you guys seriously like have grown so much. I mean, I know, like, personally, together, you know, professionally, all that stuff, and it's like obviously shown in your guys' business, and I just love you guys. So I appreciate you guys hopping on and sharing. And Zach, thanks for taking the time out. Okay, next we have Chantel. What's up, girl? Let me find you.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Hey. Hi, guys. So Troy's at work, but he's on right now. So I think, Troy, can he unmute himself, or can you do that?
He should be able to.
Okay, Troy, he's a little bit of new to the Zoom, but
hold on, I can try to unmute him too. Hold on. Let me see.
How's that? Is that good?
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Hey, everybody.
Hello. Thanks for hopping on. Sorry, it's like running a little bit late, but we appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to let her kind of share a little bit, and then I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
So, when we started, a lot of people, some people know this, a lot of people don't, but we actually joined It Works like 3 years ago. And I started, and I had the conversation, you know, with my husband. I said, I don't know what this girl's doing, but I see this girl, she's making money. I kind of want to do it. And he's like, you know, just find out the ins and outs. So I did. And I started, and then I just didn't know what I was doing, and I had no desire to go for it. And he was just, okay, whatever you're doing, whatever, just go ahead. And then I quit and I stopped doing it. But then 15 months ago, I started up again. And Troy always kind of laughs about how when he said, yeah, just do it, he always says to people, you know, I figured I'd give her something to do. And it definitely has given me something to do. But you know, we're parents, so we have a 1 and a 2-year-old. They're around here. One of them's probably going to creep around here any second. But, you know, working this business together and trying to find time, I think, is one of the biggest struggles for most couples, because you've got, you know, you want time for yourselves, and then you've got the kids, and they want you at all hours of the day. And you want to be able to work your business, and then your husband's working full time. It's, you know, it's hard. But you know, it's all about just, you know, wanting to do it and becoming that team and really getting that vision together. knowing like this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it together. But I'm gonna talk about. I wanted to just at the end of after Troy goes, I want to give like our daily day-to-day on how we do things. But I think he's probably ready.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So, Troy, if you can just, it's nice to meet you guys, by the way. If you could just kind of talk about your, like what you saw, like what your version of her story is and what your version of your story is, like how you've evolved, how you've like I guess, fallen in love with the business in your own way, and know and have confidence of what it's going to do for your future.
Well, you know, when Chantel brought this up to me about 15 months ago, you know, I thought exactly what she said. Well, hey, it's going to give her something to do during the day while she's watching the kids. So why not keep her busy? And one of my biggest things was I wanted to try the product because I wanted to see if the product really did work. And I tried the product and it worked amazing. I did the ThermoFit and the Fat Fighters and I was able to lose 27 pounds. So that made me a believer in the product too. So fast forward all these months, you know, I'm watching and listening to my wife every single night talk about It Works. We'd be in the back patio and all she'd be doing is talking about It Works. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie, it would drive me nuts. But, you know, I started listening more about charting and, you know, how to, you know, how she's running her business. And I started becoming more of a believer, you know, of It Works, and especially with how well the products work. And then we went to conference in February. And I was like, okay, is this going to be like another Arbonne event? Because I work at the Arbonne big conference here in Vegas every year. And it's a little different. And we went to conference, and I actually really enjoyed hearing everybody talk and from the platform and being able to talk to people too. You know, just when we were out and about, you know, whether we were getting something to eat, being able to hear their stories, and then obviously the money started rolling in too. That was a huge thing. You know, seeing that she was actually working this business and managing not only working this business, but also 2 kids, which is pretty hard having 2 kids and running your own business. But, you know, I've really, as you can tell, I'm wearing the It Works shirt right now. What ways I've been able to help her is at work. I'm at work right now. People, I have 12,000 employees that I work with. And that's my market right there. That's my target market. I could talk to them about It Works, about the products. And I've been able to get many loyal customers and DTs here at work for my wife, for our business. And of course, you know, I'm under a distributor under my wife too. So that's the biggest thing for me. I don't have time right now until she hits ambassador. Baby, you got to hit ambassador so you can bring me home. And then I'll have more time to be able to work everything social media. Right now, it's all by word of mouth. And I'm the least intimidated person. I'll talk to anybody. And, you know, that's more my forte. I love to talk to people. So everything right now for me is just talking to people out in the public.
So when you're talking to people, like, how do you bring it up? Does she seal the deal? Are you sealing the deal? Like, are you like, hey, talk to my wife. This is what she does, you know, blah, 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 blah. Or are you like actually putting them on your website and enrolling them? Like, how does that process look for you? And what is like your best blitzing tip for guys, especially when you're talking to girls?
You know, it's a little bit of both. I've signed people up here at work because I have the app right on my phone. So I'll sign people up. But sometimes, you know, I will have my wife seal the deal because she's more knowledgeable about the products, about what ingredients are in the products. So I'll be like, hey, you know, let me give you my wife's number, talk to her, find out what the ingredients are in these products, you know, and, you know, then that way she'll be able to seal the deal. And what was the latter part of your question? I'm sorry.
Best blitzing tips, like as a guy, especially when you're a guy talking to a girl.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have any problem talking to girls and having them listening, you know, to me because they know I'm not some creepy guy or anything like that. It's, just talk about your wife. If you talk about your wife, that's going to make them comfortable, right away. And, if they're truly interested, they're going to listen to you. But, I've never had a problem as far as with talking to anybody about, I've had numerous LCs that I've gotten here at work and a few DTs. And, we're also a product of, of the company as far as, my wife has been able to lose almost 50 pounds and I lost 27 pounds off the product. So people that I've worked with for 3 years here, they've seen that and they'll ask, hey, Troy, what'd you do? How'd you lose all that weight? Well, hey, let me tell you how I lost all that weight. And same thing with my wife, I'll pull out before and after pictures of my wife and other distributors that they could see, hey, this is what they look like before they started the Triple Threat. Now this is what they look like after Triple Threat, or hair, skin, and nails, all that. And, so I really haven't had a problem.
I love that tip. Like talking about your wife makes them feel so much more comfortable, so it's not like, hey, I'm hitting on you, like I'm actually talking about my wife. I'm actually just wanting to inform you and give you some information about the product. So that's super helpful. I appreciate you hopping on, and you can stick on if you want to add anything to what she says too. But it's definitely helpful to see what it's like, from somebody who's working full time, when their wife's at home, but you're still able to help her with the business. Last question, I'll let you go. What would you say to a man who is frustrated with how much his wife is on the phone, especially if you're gone all day? You're gone, you're working, you come home, she's on her phone, she's on Zoom, she's on potential calls, and it's 11 o'clock before you guys get to spend some time together. What would you say, like, the best advice?
You got to think about why she's doing it in the first place. She's doing it to better your life. And that's the biggest thing for me. I know the reason why she's doing it. She's doing it because she wants to bring me home. She's doing it to have a better life for us, for our kids. That's the reason why she's doing it. Hey, like I said, I admit sometimes the phone thing and then being on the, talking the dream page, talking all the time to the other DTs. Sometimes, it's tough. I'm not perfect. It definitely gets tough, but I know the ultimate goal. And you want to support your significant other, your spouse, your wife, or your husband, who's ever doing it. They're supportive of you. You have to go to work. You have to support the family. That's all they're doing. They're just not clocking in. They're staying home. But, with my wife, she's staying home. She's taking care of the kids and, working a business. So you can't ask for anything better. Kids aren't having to go to daycare. They're able to stay home. So just be supportive, just like you would want them to be supportive of you.
I love that. I appreciate that so much, Troy. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for sacrificing. And okay.
All right. Thank you.
Chantel, what was like that process? Like, I think all guys are guilty of it. And Brian, my husband, I feel like sometimes he does a really good job of helping me in line. Like, is that income producing? And I'll be like, no, it's not. You caught me. I'm in the scroll hole, like I'm just scrolling. And so like, how did you kind of help him understand that aspect of it too?
So when we first really started, I kind of would tell him my goals. So I would always keep him up to date on like what the goals were and let him know like all the lingo and this and that. And so by the end of, honestly, he's already done it this month. He's like, how's it going? How's it looking? Because I've kept him in the know so much every month that now he is checking on me and he's going, how are the numbers looking this month? How are we doing? And something that we do after the kids go to sleep, and I'll get to that, is we talk to each other about where we're at with the business and what we need for the rest of the month or what we need that following month. Because what that does, it really gets you on the same level with each other so that you kind of know what you're doing. You can mute him. There you go. I bought him a few shirts. I gave him that bracelet. He goes to work in it. I tell him a little bit here and there about a few different products. He did try the products, so he knew how they worked. I downloaded that app on his phone so that if he's at work, he can just hand it to somebody and showed him how to use it. He really keeps me accountable too for what I'm doing by by being having his strengths and my weaknesses. For example, live videos, I'm petrified of going live, but he's been a public speaker for 17 years. He has no problem doing that. So when I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can't push the button, he's like, just do it. Just do it. And, you know, he gives me that confidence that I can just do this. I can. So one thing we really feel like that we do is we play off each other's strengths and we help each other's weaknesses. So mine being embarrassed and scared to go live is something that he's strong with. And I'm able to bring him in. I'm like, okay, well, do the live video with me. It'll make me feel better. And then when it comes to computers, Troy has no idea. He doesn't even know like how to open Word. And so I do that aspect of it. I do all the computer work. And, you know, he's not active on Facebook, but that's okay. One thing that I do all the time, I actually hack into his Facebook Messenger, and I had him write down, this was probably, I mean, he wrote down like 50 names, and it was probably a couple months ago. I'm probably gonna have him do it again here in the next couple weeks. I had him write down 50 names or so of people that are on his friends list that I could contact that would probably, that he's like kind of closer to, not just like random. And I went on his Messenger and I was like messaging, I'm like, hey brother, what's up, man? I'm Troy. I'm acting like Troy. And I'm like, hey, man, my wife is going for a promotion and she really could use some help. Do you want to help me out? She's like, da, 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 you know, and I'm talking like Troy, asking his buddies if they want to help out his wife. And really, we got a great feedback from that. And, you know, I also messaged women from his, from when he was in high school. I messaged women who he had been friends with in high school, and we actually just signed up his ex-girlfriend from high school last week as a loyal customer. So, you know, it's all about just growing your network and using everything you can with each other. And your husband or your wife, they are a whole other network. I mean, I don't know if you know, some of you may not have gone to the same high school. That is a whole other high school network. Maybe you didn't go to the same college, a whole other college network, you know. So use your sources with each other on that. And then with like the events, I mean, I told him, just like he said, he's like, Arbonne conferences, I've been at, those people are crazy. And I'm like, I don't care. You have to go. Trust me, you just have to go. And somebody said this once, I can't remember who it was, but if your husband's just trying to, or even your wife is trying to kind of struggle with that, the whole idea of why you're doing this or why, and are you sure you should? All you have to do is ask them, do you believe in me? Because, you know, as long as you believe in your wife, and as long as your wife believes in you, or as long as you believe in your husband and your husband believes in you, that is all that it takes. Because whoever's the go-getter, the one who's running with this business, is going to just need that. You just need to believe in us. And that's really what Troy did. And he went to conference last year, and it blew my mind. I don't know, he's gone now. I can put him on blast. He cried at conference. That guy cried. And it was beautiful. It was like beautiful. And he cried when we all were hanging out after conference. And he said, I never realized that the stories that were told on stage could touch me so much. And to know that I'm going to, and it was all about the kids. He's like, to know that I'm going to be able to give my kids this future is incredible. And he just got really emotional. And, you know, that's the reason why we say go to these events. It's because they're going to do things to you that you never thought would happen. And they're going to explode. And go with your husband, go with your wife. Like, they're really fun. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's a vacation for you. So if you're like, I don't really want to go, just go. Trust me. They're fun.
That's awesome. Okay, real quick, last thing, just go over your schedule, kind of what that looks like, so that other people can kind of get an idea of how you guys work together, how you work it with 2 kids at home.
Okay, so when it comes to Troy's days off, so he has a different schedule every week. So we don't have a set schedule, which can make it hard, but his days off, I just want to say, when you have days off with each other, spend them together. This business is great to work all the time, but remember to put your phone down and spend time with your husband and spend time with your wife and your kids. Put your phone down and have family days. So on his days off, we spend the day together. I'll put my app or my posts on Buffer, or I'll have them already ready and it'll take 2 seconds to post. And then we'll spend the whole day together and I won't touch my phone. And then right before dinner, he'll like start dinner and I'll get on the phone and work for like 30 minutes real quick. And then phone goes away again for the rest of the night. So we make sure days off are spent together. And I give myself about a half hour during dinner time, like right before dinner time, to work. When he does go to work, if he's working in the mornings, then usually I'll wake up a little earlier so that I can get some messages out before he leaves for work. While he's at work, I've got the kids, they're 1 and 2 years old, and they're a lot of work, but nap times, use your nap times. And then when he gets home, we spend about an hour together, and then I'm going in. And you think about the sacrifice that you have when he's home. It's like, well, he just got home and now you're going to go work, but it's so much better that I can just get on my phone and not go to an office. I mean, I could be leaving to an office at night, and instead I'm just on the phone. So if he's dealing with like a blowout or something, it's all right. He just yells my name and I can come downstairs and help him. So, whenever he's home, the days that he works are the days that I work the most too. And at night, I would say pretty much every night, we spend, after the kids go to bed, we spend either watching videos together, motivational videos or learning videos, and we talk about what our goals are and our plans. And I know this sounds so silly, but there might be some of you guys on here right now that, you're sitting there and you're going, okay, in a year I'm going to do this, in a year I'm going to do that. And these are things that you feel like you do all the time. But let me just tell you, like the stuff that you're talking about with your husband and your wife, these things they're going to happen. And I promise you that. I started 15 months ago. I haven't had to go back to work. I've had my husband right by my side the whole time, believing in me and seeing it happen. And, we're about to buy a house, and this is like not something that we would be able to do without this business. And that was something that we thought would never be possible before. And it is now. Think and talk and like go over your goals with each other. I'm telling you, it's fun, and it's even more exciting when you can look at each other and go, hey, remember how I used to talk your ear off? Remember that? Well, did you see that house that we're buying? Isn't that funny how those two went together? And it comes together, and I promise, as annoying as us girls might be with the It Works thing, talk, we just talk a lot. Just listen and, just stick in there with us, because I promise it's worth it. And I promise you that this business is going to change both your lives. So
I appreciate that so much. And I agree with everything you were saying. And I love that, you guys utilize days off. Like, I think that's something that I can definitely probably do a better job at and not feeling like I have to be attached at my phone. So I appreciate you guys being on here and learning so much. And all the couples too, you guys, this was so awesome. And hopefully everybody who was listening took something away from it and was able to kind of have something that you feel like you can apply to your own life. You can sit on these Zooms and you can listen all you want, but if you don't actually apply it to your life, this whole time that you spent listening is useless. So make sure that you're applying what we were saying into something that you can do with your own business, with your own marriage, with your own relationship. So I just appreciate everybody, sacrificing their time and being here. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night. Bye.